Come in, please take a seat. Oh, that's louder, huh?
Yeah. Hi, everyone.
Welcome to the Fishbowl discussion, how to humanize omnichannel engagement. Welcome, everybody. So I will hand it over for introduction to my friend and beautiful colleague, Vanitha, please.
Thanks, Patrick. Hi, everyone. My name is Vanitha. I work with Novo Nordisk as an Omni-Channel customer engagement lead for cardiovascular and emerging therapy areas. Very exciting role, and I'm excited to be here today to introduce this whole fishbowl concept and to get all your participation.
Yeah. My name is Patrick. Nice to meet all of you. I lead the digital excellence team for Daiichi Sankyo in Europe. This is a fishbowl discussion, so ground rules. We have 3 available chairs. Vanitha will represent the internal perspective, so what do we need to deal with to focus on the human element of omnichannel. I focus more on the external perspective, where to focus on for humanizing omnichannel engagement. Whoever wants to discuss with us, choose your side, take a seat,
neutral,
and contribute. So this is interactive, okay? This is why it's a fishbowl. There's no glue. When you sit there, you don't need to sit forever. If you have a question, you want to contribute, stay as long as you want, but not until the end, yeah? So you need to get up before and give others the opportunity. Okay, so would you like to ask the first question?
Yes, so humanizing pharma's omni-channel customer engagement journey. Let's start with your perspective. What does it mean for you, Patrick?
Yeah. So for me, it means actually making sure that we put the focus on the customer, which is a human too. I think we sometimes tend to forget it. I would like to give you one example to open the stage for discussion. So what we did is in the area of medical and omnichannel at a small scale. Our medical team said we really would like to have a new customer engagement model. New means one primary point of contact, one secondary point of contact if the primary point is not available, so that there's no local, regional, global confusion, just one person. We have admin support, and we have an engagement strategist. This is someone who plans the full engagement for a given calendar year, okay? So what medical did, and where I'm very proud of the medical team, is they conducted a lot of interviews with doctors. What are your pain points? You know, what is working, what is not working? Where is the engagement good? Why is it good? They even did a market research on top, and they interviewed patients and also did a patient ad board in order to really understand what is going on. The result is that now at the beginning of every year, the tier 1 key opinion leaders, it's around 20 we deal with in Europe, tell us what are the big buckets. Ad boards, consensus paper, speaking at conferences, you name it, so that we have a choice. And then we say, okay, speaking at conferences, which? We are at conference X, Y, Z. So great, I'm at conference X and Y. And the result of really involving doctors, and this was really very thoroughly done, like I said, several market research, a lot of interviews, it took 1 year to basically design the strategy, resulted in one conversation where the plan for the full year is laid out. And this worked actually so well that customers said, you know, in the beginning, actually, I didn't really like talking to you, you know, because there was absolutely no value. But after the new concept, no one ever asked me what is in for me, what I would like to do, you know? Before it was like a relationship where I said, okay, you give me something, I give you something, but it was a lose-lose kind of relationship. And with this change, it was really a way where the medical team got feedback and got the foot into door with key opinion leaders who never worked with us before. And I think this is why humanizing means really understanding the needs, taking the time to reflect what it needs, and then work upon it. And now the strategy has been rolled out across Europe, and it actually works really well. And this is where medical is actually even outperforming marketing and commercial. So Vanitha, can you maybe take the internal perspective? And after this, we invite you to join our discussion.
Yeah, and before I go into the depths of this internal perspective, I want to share where the journey started, right? I've been in Novo for almost 7 years now, and I've been driving change in this digital customer engagement space for a while, and my primary customers, I thought, were always affiliates. And when I used to interact with them, they always get the external perspective and they do support you. But right now, I'm sitting in a global franchise, and it's a completely pre-commercial team. Some of them have never developed content. Some of them have probably never really done marketing too. Then I am going there as colleague zero, omni-channel colleague zero, trying to talk about omni-channel and change and everything. Then it was a bit of a struggle because like people were like, who are you? What are you doing in our team? Like, we are so busy. They never used to invite me to any meetings because they just thought, like, why do I exist in that franchise, right? And this was going on. I changed my perspective because I always thought, oh, I'm really good with change, driving change. And I'm like, this is challenging. I thought always the global team was the easiest because they're not even executing and directly talking to the customers. And that's when I got introduced to this concept called anchors. So I always believed in human-to-human relationship building for driving change, but I took a step back on that path, and I introduced something called as anchors. By anchors, what I really mean is getting the cross-functional teams together and first of all, being a little commercial with them, like asking them, okay, what is it that they really want to achieve? What is your vision? What's your aspiration together? And can we lay out some strategic objectives to ensure that we execute that vision? And within each strategic objective, what are the high impact levers that we really want to tap into? Because we can't boil the ocean. Then within those high impact levers, what are some of the measurement metrics? And these are not KPIs, these are slightly different, and this is called the OKR principle, which is objectives and key results. Then what we do by introducing this is we come to a consensus-driven culture where we say, oh, you know what, just by conducting a workshop, that is not our KPI. We are not here to just tick off the checklist, right? We are here to really create an outcome. So what is the purpose of that workshop? We want cross-functional alignment on strategy. It could be fit-for-purpose content. So what are the high-impact levers on that fit-for-purpose content? And how are we going to celebrate our wins? And how are we going to really take a break and course correct, acknowledge our failures, like somebody mentioned in the morning today, like acknowledge your failures, and how do you course correct? All that is kind of embedded in this principle of anchoring. So that way, I realize it's a very powerful tool in bringing people together because you are developing and co-creating this whole OKR model or anchoring model with the people that you're going to work with. And this changed the game for me personally in my role because then suddenly the brand teams were just pushing back saying that, you know, all this work we are supposed to do, why are you doing? Kind of changed because then they saw it in writing. And they saw it in the co-creation process, how we can add value to each other by leveraging our strengths. And they also realized what their strengths weren't and where they feel that, you know, we could add the commercial excellence or the omni-channel team can add value. And it took a while. It took almost 6 months to get there. But I think we managed to do this anchoring principle. And now we don't just sit at it. We actually monitor progress of this OKRs every quarter. There's a big leadership support. So our franchise head sits in the meeting. And we empower the marketing team to actually present about that. You know, so the full credit goes to them just for them to support us in our journey. So this way, I think this is one of my favorite learnings in my change management career, I would say, and I just wanted to share it with all of you. Yeah.
So now's the time. Please
Pick
share
sides.
with us your experience. The very courageous one of you, the first one, the most courageous. Take a seat. Where do you start? Is it internal? Is it external? What is the human element? Do you start simultaneously? Whatever you want to share, please get up and take a seat. Also the people outside, you don't need to hide. Whoever want to sit here and discuss with us, please come here, take a seat, because this should be interactive. Until we find the first courageous person, I will share another example. And thanks, Myrnas. Here, more people. Fantastic. So you're taking the seat in the middle. Myrnas.
What's common between what you said and what Vanitha said, that you both involved your stakeholders, you listened to the stakeholders, and the plan was a joint plan, and the outcome was positive. So I think it's kind of like that's the fundamental of the approach you took that works. It works with HCPs and it works with internal stakeholders.
Yeah.
That's it. So
Magic of involving the people, right?
Yeah. And I think through that involvement, they get to know more about you. It's all about the human chemistry. They understand you, so you go in their way to understand them. They come your way to understand you, and together you can have those joint plans.
Thanks, Myrnas, and I think that's a good, summary, because I think sometimes we talk technology, we talk customer needs, and then very interesting things happen, like non-digital functions talk technology and say, this is what we need this tool, we need this process, and then the digital team starts to talk customer needs, and everybody is confused, why are we changing roles? But if you focus really on who are we trying to serve, for which purpose, it's really about the basics. It's not about who's doing what, but what are the challenges we face, the pain points. Let's come back to the first example again. Yeah? You might ask yourself, okay, Patrick, what was Omni-Channel about it if you talk about 20 key opinion leaders? The Omni-Channel journey is first learning, start small. Yeah? If you start with 20,000 doctors, much more difficult. So if you do it on a small scale, it becomes easier. The second thing is, you need to identify what are the customer needs. And whether these are 3, 4, or 5, it doesn't matter, but don't start with 200, because no customer has 200 needs. Yeah? And then you need to think about what is the right order, and you think about means you in a discussion with the specific key opinion leader. What is the right sequence? Some of this we can influence, some of this we can't, because conferences happen at certain dates. Yeah? And then you create a journey and say, what is it that you contribute? Where do you, educate patients? Where can we help you to reach more people because you are very talented in telling complex medical information in a simple fashion, and so on and so forth. And this is, I think, also very important. Don't try to start too big, and the uniting factor is the user or the customer in the end. And if you focus on that, it's not so difficult. Chiara.
Go for it.
Yes. So I wanted to also share my journey. Listening to you, it's a story that has repeated itself a lot. And so, yes, I worked with global marketing teams cross-functionally. I also think I want to add to your journey, which is very, again, common, of course. Everybody has gone through at global level. Also the international journey. When you have to work with the affiliates, right? And there are smaller affiliates that don't feel very powerful, right? And even though you can then discover that there is one that has 2 persons and feels very powerful and builds a success story. And if you're able to build an international community, right? Gather those success stories, reshare, and you basically empower each of these small teams in the affiliates, right? To find that courage to come out and embrace innovation, even though, they started at a different place with a feeling of being powerless, right? So that's really very important to start changing the mindset, right? I remember, encouraging Finland, say, you can do digital. Look at Denmark. Denmark did it with 1 person on the field. You have 8. You can really do that. And so that's also part of the job, right? Creating communities that can empower each other, right? Within international markets and affiliates to believe they can do innovation omnichannel. Innovation per se, it's very dirty, as we know. People have to take risks they have never taken before, and they should embrace failure as well and move forward. So this is one. And also from the cross-functional perspective, probably many of us have had the chance to pioneer remote engagement during the pandemic, right? Then we needed to work cross-functionally. And there were a major effort, basically, to make everybody ready, consolidate within not just leadership, but every function, basically consolidating towards the outcome of the remote engagement. But that's one piece of the job. Then you have to go to each team, right, in the market, each marketing team, each sales team, right, empower them to make the right choice for their customers at the right time, right, the right frequency, specifically during the pandemic, personalize the approach. So these are 2 small stories, right, the community building, which is very important to drive forward our omnichannel vision, innovation in general, and also the aspects of cross-functional teams, and then go to the people, go to the teams, talk to them, adapt to their needs, and make the change together.
You know, you just opened a can of worms when you spoke about affiliates, and thanks for sharing that. And I know I spoke from a global perspective, but yeah, the affiliates and the regional support and ambassadorship that you can get is really valuable. And this has happened in one of very complex roles. I was also, in my past life, I was responsible for leading the modular content strategy and, shaping that whole product for Novo, and also setting up this whole content factory, which we call as Content Hub for 80 affiliates. It was interesting because they tried doing, five or 6 years back, they tried doing this, and the affiliates just shut the door. They were like, no way we're going to have a centralized content model. We just don't get it. But then it took just one ambassador, one success story for us to create that dominoes effect. So the first region that supported us was Latin America region. So they were like very interested in all these concepts, and then they like embraced this. And that's it. We kept nailing that message, like, hey, you know what? Your LATAM colleagues have embraced this. What about you, Germany? What about you, Japan? And then, like, if Japan can do it, you can do it. So we used to kind of have this positive competition amongst these affiliates, which kind of worked. And then the global teams are happy because, like, for them, their immediate customers should be the affiliates, right? So that's the magic. Like, keep one success story and keep nailing that forward.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Exactly.
thanks. Very nice.
Thanks for sharing, Chiara, and maybe one more example, and I try to open the door also for the digital folks, yeah, not only omni-channel. I think Vanitha and Chiara showed also good examples. You need to really think about what are the touch points or channels you would like to use. And I think instead of, and I believe that customer engagement, what we call omni-channel in pharma, and digital health goes actually very well together, yeah. So instead of we as the European digital team with the headquarter team, instead of telling the business, you know, consult us and we can tell you which type of solutions are better, we said, we have one customer need which we all share, or one customer problem. And the customer problem is a lot of oncology patients basically suffer from interstitial lung disease. So this is a disease where basically you get scars on your lung tissue, to keep it in super simple words and not to get in confrontation with medicals who can explain it much better, yeah? Which means you have difficulties to breathe, okay? If you have difficulties to breathe, you need to stop your medication. So we are active in breast cancer, but this interstitial lung disease have many cancer patients. So instead of saying digital solutions are scalable, we told our oncology colleagues, just imagine, okay? The doctor doesn't care about a specific drug. He treats patients for a specific disease. So if this doctor would have a digital stethoscope, which you basically put on the chest, it uses AI to analyze basically the sound of your inhaling and exhaling. And depending on how much scar tissue you have, the noise changes, right? And you can detect, before it gets worse, actually a change in noise, which means you can stop treatment before scar tissue starts to occur. And the good news is that patients who do short breaks of therapy discontinuation, 2, 3, 4, a few weeks, can have up to 20 months of treatment versus 8. So the difference is 12 months, up to. Let's say we end up at 6. Is anyone aware of any drug which works across different disease types with the potential to increase or almost double the treatment duration? I am not, yeah? But when people basically realized this is the case, they said, okay, we should not talk omni-channel, we should not talk digital, we should talk customer needs. We should talk about what is the need, what is the channel, what is the touch point, and how can we build a story around it. And the story for the doctor is, I see a patient, I want to provide a treatment. And we will be remembered for someone who can provide a solution to basically not only have an effective treatment, but also to make sure a patient stays on a treatment. And not only for our drug or our disease, but also for many other cancers. And this is something which I think is extremely valuable, again, focusing on what is the common challenge instead of one team trying to convince the other team. And in this case, again, the human factor is the customer, because I'm representing the customer side. So now I would really like to get some people up, because I know some names here, and I'm not shy to call them out if people don't stand up. So please don't be afraid. Whatever you want to share. We can also switch sides. I go internal, you go external. So see, we are also flexible. So if you want. Okay, Alex, you want to join? I said I'm going to call out names.
Me or the other Alex?
I looked at you. Apologies to the other Alex, yeah. But feel free to join too. We have more seats. So when we say omni-channel, so can you please just explain what it means for you and why humanizing or focusing on human needs is so important from your point of view, Alex?
Yeah. So actually, in a webinar a while ago, there was this guy, Philip, and he mentioned that no doctor ever requests for omni-channel or for content or for something. All the doctors, that what they want in there, they want an easy access to information. So there was also this morning a session that mentioning, you don't need ACP portals, you don't need anything in there. What doctors want, they want to find the piece of data that they want in 10 seconds or less. So I believe,
fantastic.
Opinion, if I would be to resume it, I would say, in my opinion, omnichannel is just a way to give faster information and relevant information to the doctors. It's not what channels we use or things like this. So that's just my 2 cents on this.
Okay, and with the focus on the human, what do you do to make sure that we don't lose the sight on customer needs, or also on our internal colleagues, to make sure we really work towards an outcome which makes a difference?
So on the human, what I've experienced, I'm not a pharma guy.
All good. You're a human.
I'm working more on the agency level. But what I've experienced from some of the clients or some of the people that I interacted with, usually human will never disappear, and Mernaz here probably is the best example of that with Kemia. Like, she has some really good examples, and if you want, you can approach her for that. And it's more important on how to use those connections. Think about the use cases that we have here. Like, for example, I don't know, we need to go a haircut. We always go to the same person. We don't usually go to different people. So in terms of the human, it's very important to have, to use the skills of the sales reps, to use the skills of the colleagues that are involved in different projects, internal projects, external projects, facing with the doctors, patients, whatever is in there it would be, and use them at the right time. And a good example of this was for a company. It's top 10. And it's from Romania actually, and they were launching the ECP portal in there, and they was observing that on the medical part they got more activation on the emails that they were sending to activate the accounts of the doctors rather than on the commercial part. And the guy that was orchestrating the omnichannel strategy was curious why they are having 80% of open rate, 82% or something like this, while the others, they were having only 10% at the best performed campaigns. So he went to the head of AMS sales and said, well, why, like, what is the reason that you're having that? Teach us, master. So they realized, because when the MSR visits a doctor, he said, I'm going to send you an email. You don't need to open it right now. But the next time when I'm here, we go together to it, I can show you. So basically, they're doing a demo of the ECP portal on everything. So they were also getting feedback from there to say, look, what do you want to find over here? So the doctor was saying, I want to find, this information. He just showed it in there. So that's the power of the human-to-human interaction in there, like knowing how to use the skill set in order to reach your end goal.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing. Volodymyr.
Yes. Well, I'd like to thank Alex for sharing as well, because when you ask a question and when you start to transfer it, well, I got one insight that was actually hasn't been on my mind before. That what is omni-channel? What is omni-channel? We are all talking about it, whether it's buzzword or no. But I think, and this is like a point for discussion with everyone, actually, omni-channel is more about human and personality and what he or she needs or wants, and not about our KPIs and deliverability rates or open rates. Yeah, that's what we need. But what the person needs, how you very nicely described. So it may be more rare. It may not exist for some intervals of time, but it should be there when HCP, our client, needs it. And I think that's what it is about. It's not about sending 100 emails and reaching 60% open rate. No, it's sending one email per year, but the very important, like from a family member, not just regular, not my.
Very good.
Very good.
No, thanks for nicely summarizing that. Before we hand the word to Loda, I think you said something, Volodymyr, which really resonates, at least with me. It's we have new possibilities for engagement to meet the needs, the tastes, the preferences of more people. Not everyone wants the same, yeah, but we have new exciting opportunities to make sure that more people can benefit from our offers, but we should not get lost in the opportunities, but rather remember ourselves why we are doing it. So thank you very much for highlighting this. Lode, internal, external.
I was triggered by his comment, which I really
No, good. Yeah. See, this is why I called you. Yeah.
why I really liked, because I think an easy way to look at it is proactive versus reactive. And we haven't really used those terms, but if you have a reactive, whereby your customer is the asking party, you will always have more interest, you'll have more click-throughs, you'll have more take-up. And the resistance comes from what the pharma has always been doing, proactive. And I think that's the beauty of how can you use omni-channel to create reactive moments proactively.
Yeah.
I give an example. One of our colleagues here normally goes home at 6 o'clock, right? One night, a few weeks ago, she was still in the office at 7. Ping, message, Domino Pizzas has a promotion today. Somehow, because you know this thing, sharing your data across apps, somehow Domino's Pizza has an algorithm that said, hey, she's still in the office. She may need a quick solution for the kids tonight. And so at that moment, and she looked at us like, oh yeah, that's a great idea, because I'm late. And she ordered right away, and it was there. Now she's now at this conference. That same ping Domino has publicity would be utterly meaningless today. And I think a lot what we've done in pharma is take different channels to pump unwanted messages. And so I think if we can get to and that's why I love the timing debate, which was floating away from what it was really right. Because I'm no longer a pharma executive, I am no longer a physician, I'm now mostly a patient and a carer. But the moment I need something, I will listen to anybody, including pharma. The key is to be there right then. And I don't care which channel you use, which format, because at that moment, and the problem is, of course, between patient and doctor, and this has been a topic of a whole discussion, is that the doctor is pre-trained. So when you get that reactive message with your clinical study, I mean, just imagine that you would know that tomorrow this doctor is going to see my aunt with a very rare tumor. Just imagine he had a view in his agenda. And you have a new study for your drug in that tumor. That would be fantastic, right? But he's trained to look at the problem with patients is nobody trains you as a patient until you get the disease. And then you are flooded with information.
Okay. I think we need to come to an end, but the good news is, thanks, Lode, I think it's a great example to show
Reactive versus
why technology can make a difference if you have the right focus. And just a word of thank you to Dario, because I think he's very courageous to have a different type of discussion. So see, it takes some time to get it going, but I think a lot of us always say, oh, you know, it's always not interactive enough. This was a test. If you like it, give credits to Dario so we can have more of this. And thanks everybody for contributing.